Welcome to Drive Like a Girl, episode 6. Cheers.
Cheers.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Bring on some more silly seasons.
I'm loving it.
What a race to come back to for
I know.
episode 6.
It was so good.
If you don't know, spoiler alert, but you should know.
Yeah, you should.
Lando Norris won!
He won, and it was honestly a really good race.
I was so emotional. I was so
Yeah.
happy for him. Long time coming. Literally, watch last week's episode. We were like, it's about time. He
He
deserves
needs
a race.
a win, yeah, and he literally, I can't believe it. I did not expect that to happen.
Neither. It
At
kind
all.
of did come out of nowhere.
No, it actually did.
We were both like,
Everything just worked in their favour 100%, and then it just fell into place.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like a struggle at the end.
No, he was
He was
literally
just-
cruising.
Cruising.
Ah, what a race. But we will get onto that. How have you been, Jess, since the last episode? What have
Yeah,
we done?
fine. It feels like it's been ages.
It does feel
has
like it's
been like
ages.
2 weeks because we didn't film last weekend.
No.
No.
The last race was China.
Today's a bank holiday.
Yeah, which you still had to work.
Yeah, I still have to work, but
And I prepped for this podcast. But we went to the gym.
still, yeah, exactly.
Sweated it out.
Yeah, utilises our bank holiday there.
Yeah, very well. I didn't realise until I was getting ready for this, but I wore my orange sports bra. So I was like very McLaren supportive
Oh yeah,
of me.
it is. We should have. We should have been here wearing orange McLaren merch.
I know. If only we'd have gone to Hollister.
Yeah.
And we've been saying we need to go to
Yeah.
Hollister and get the McLaren merch. Okay.
We're too late. We're too
Too
late.
late.
But no, life's been fine. Bit ill today, but you know, we move. Tomorrow's a new day. I go on my holiday on Wednesday. So I'm really excited. That's what's pushing me through. But anyway,
What are you doing in the podcast today?
so I'm going to bring it back to the history side. Oh, it's not history because it is recent in my opinion. But I'm talking about Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton and the drama that they have.
I'm excited
had.
because you see a lot, I think, of clips on TikTok of like the drama, and I've heard things, but this is one
Yeah.
I've not actually fully dived into, so I'm
Yeah.
really excited to get the
So
rundown.
hopefully I won't mess it up. I mean, I've got
No,
my
you won't.
notes, so I will be just reading from my notes. Well, with the drama with Lewis Hamilton and Nico, it's just it's happened every year. There's always drama between two teammates, or there's always going to be a bit of rivalry. Everyone's going to hate someone, and so this is just a more recent awkward drama.
Yeah, run down
And
the
then-
history, and then we'll
Talk about Miami.
talk about the race.
Yeah.
So stay for the history because this will be a juicy one, and don't worry, we will cover the epic race that was Lando's first win.
Exactly. So I'm going to start about Lewis Hamilton's early life, just to give you a bit of a background. So Lewis was born into a mixed race family on the 7th of January 1985 in an English town just north of London. His parents immigrated to the UK in the 1950s. They then divorced when Lewis was just 2 years old, but he is very close to his mum, dad and his stepmum. So Anthony Hamilton was his mentor and manager, so Anthony's his father, and worked day and night for years, and apparently at one time he held 3 different jobs to help fund Lewis's career.
Gosh.
And his career began at 8 years old when he was given a well-used go-kart that cost nearly as much as the family's modest monthly income.
There's a lot of sacrifice that goes into
Yeah.
racing and
3
Formula One.
jobs. That's crazy. Hamilton, Anthony, Linda and Nick were a fixture at karting events and started winning races and championships, where he went up to then boss of McLaren Mercedes Formula 1 team and said, "I want to race for your team." Ron Dennis said, "Call me in 9 years," but it was just 3 years when Ron phoned Lewis's dad and offered to financially support his racing career for the
Yes.
foreseeable future.
Love that confidence. Back yourself, Lewis.
Literally.
Honestly, back yourself.
Yeah. And he was so young when he said that, the confidence.
Yeah, I could never. How old was he?
8.
8?
Is when he started, I'm pretty sure.
8 or 9. What a...
And then he literally said, "Come to me in 9 years," and 3 years later
he went
maybe
to
he was
him.
a bit older, but yeah, it was when he was young. And because of the pressure, of McLaren now funding his racing career, he really just wanted to smash it, and he did. So it prompted McLaren to promote him to Formula One, and with McLaren he became the youngest world champion at age 24. And then he replaced retired Michael Schumacher at Mercedes. Now we're going to go on to Nico. So Nico Eric Rosberg was born on the 27th of June 1985 in Germany, 3 years after his father, Keke Rosberg, won the World Championship, growing up in Monaco, where his dad won the 1983 race, and it apparently gave him big ideas, and he was just 6 years old when he started karting and began championship kart racing at 10, and apparently he had a very competitive mindset and would cry when his dad would beat him at tennis.
Oh god.
I mean, we've all been there.
Some red flags, but yeah.
I used to cry when my sister would beat me at bowling.
Yeah, fair.
But I'm not a competitive person. I just could never do it, and it would just annoy me.
I think with your siblings and maybe your family as well, there's just that extra level of like rivalry.
So his dad became his manager and used his connections to great advantage, because if we look at what I've just said about where Lewis has come from, he grew up in a council estate. They had no money. His dad had to have 3 different jobs just to support him, whereas Nico's dad is a world champion. But they still ended up in the same place. So is it really about connections? So
probably helps.
Yeah, definitely. He progressed very quickly, and in karting his main opponent was Lewis Hamilton, so that's how they met, and in 2000 began teammates in competitive Formula A karting championship. While Hamilton was much better than Nico, their friendship remained friendly and engaged in youthful antics such as tossing a mattress out of their hotel room window.
That was so joke.
But in 2002, their career paths separated, with Nico moving to single-seaters and years later made his first debut with Williams. And then in 2010, he joined Mercedes with Michael Schumacher. And then that's when in 2013, him and Lewis's careers aligned again and they became teammates. And that's obviously when Michael Schumacher retired. So that's just a bit about where they went and how they ended up together. So everyone thought they were friends, and they were, but unfortunately, being each other's teammates, it didn't go quite well. From the 2013 Hungary Grand Prix, Lewis scored his victory, picking up 1 win for the season with 4 podiums and 5 pole positions, coming 4th in the championship. Whereas Nico had 2 victories that season at Monaco and Britain and finished 6th in the championship. And that season was the first sign of tension. It happened in Malaysia, where Mercedes implemented team orders to hold Nico and told Nico to hold his position in 4th place behind Hamilton, who went on to get P3. But nothing really happened about that. It was just kind of
annoying.
It definitely pissed him off.
Yeah.
But because they've just started becoming teammates, they're not going to make that much of a big deal about it.
And these things happen.
Yes, it does happen. So it wasn't that much of a big deal, but that was kind of the start. And then in 2014, Mercedes was smashing it, but we saw in Bahrain a battle between them both, where Lewis was using a forbidden engine mode, which supplied more power and gave him a narrow victory. And after the race, they had a kind of mock play fight, which everyone says that clip just foreshadows their future of like intense rivalry, because they're not really playing, they're just trying to make it seem like they are in front of the cameras. But I think that definitely annoyed Nico as well, because why is he using a forbidden engine to try and beat him?
And also, who in the Mercedes team put that in the car? What? I'm confused.
I don't get that. Then Lewis found out that Mercedes gave Nico all of Lewis's performance data to study, to basically help him see how he can do just as well in the car, which, I mean, yeah, I get it. But then again, it's because Nico has this underlying jealousy and competitiveness against him. Yeah. If I was Lewis, I'd be fuming.
I don't know. I feel like I'd be more fuming being Nico, because you're literally saying to him, your teammates better learn from him. Whereas if I was Lewis, I'd be like, well, They don't have any other drivers' data. They only have each other's to learn from.
Yeah, true.
Like, I mean, they can guess, but like actually having the physical data, they don't have anybody else's but their teammates.
Yeah, that's
true. So as Lewis, actually. I mean, if he was annoyed, I don't know why he would be annoyed, because he's doing better, and
yeah, but he doesn't want him to know how. Yeah, exactly. Like,
yeah, but that's not very.
No, it's not, but they're not team players.
Yeah.
But a few races down the line in Spain, Hamilton won, and Nico found out after that race that Lewis had been using the same forbidden engine mode that he used in Bahrain to fend him off. So it was kind of now getting to Nico that Lewis was
forbidden engine mode.
Yeah, I know. I think it was really getting to him that he was being beaten by Lewis at this point.
Especially if it's cheating.
Yeah, it's kind of unfair.
Yeah.
But 2 weeks later in Monaco, Nico got a controversial pole position but was cleared of any wrongdoing, and Lewis disagreed with this and he made it very clear. Lewis came P2 in that race, and in a post-race interview, Lewis answered a question about building bridges with your friends. So I think obviously by this point the public are catching on, because even the interviewees are going, are you going to build that friendship? And he said, well, we're not friends, we're colleagues, and working to get the team as many 1-2s and points as possible. So saying that on camera for everyone to see,
saying we're not friends, we're colleagues.
Saying we're not friends, we're colleagues, when you clearly are friends, you have been friends, you grew up together.
So now
and he's annoyed, that Nico got pole position, and he disagreed and didn't think he should have got pole position, but at the end of the day you're both teammates, so surely it would be great anyway that he got pole position. So this is all in the same season as well. So in Hungary, Nico qualified in pole position, but Lewis was starting at the back of the grid after having a fuel leak. However, in the race, Lewis managed to get up in the race, and by his luck a safety car came out in the middle of the race after Nico pitted. Lewis was instructed to let Nico through and pass him as he was on a different strategy, but Lewis refused, and Nico then was stuck behind. Controversially, people said that costed Nico of a win, but Niki Lauda came out on Lewis's defence and the incident was dropped.
They were very close.
Yeah.
I know Niki died recently, but before, when you saw them interact on F1, they were really, really close.
Yeah.
And Niki was always there to support Hamilton.
Yeah. So that was then dropped. But then in the Bulgarian Grand Prix, they collided with each other and caused Lewis to retire, and Nico got second place. He was then booed on the podium and Nico was forced to apologise.
Not the boo.
Yeah, imagine, because everyone just loves Lewis. But with all this that happened in 2014 season, Lewis became world champion with 7 pole positions ahead of Nico. So that all of that drama happened in 2014, but Hamilton did end up beating him in the end. And in 2015 season, Mercedes again dominated, but this year it seemed to be much better between them both, and Lewis again became world champion. However, in the USA Grand Prix, where Lewis won his 3rd world champion, in the cool-down room, Lewis threw his hat at Nico as a joke, and Nico threw it back to him in frustration, and by the looks of it, it was very awkward.
Oh, that is so awkward.
I know, it was. You should watch the video, because they're not talking to each other, it's just silent, and I was like, I cringed so bad. But again, in 2015, Lewis beat
Don't
Nico
they see
again.
how it looks? Like,
they're probably so like, they've just been racing, they're just not thinking straight, but yeah. In 2016, Nico had a 7-race winning streak, and going into the Spanish Grand Prix, Nico led Hamilton by 43 points. After a good start by both drivers, Nico managed to pass Lewis, but then had a loss of power due to incorrect engine setting that he did during the formation lap. This allowed Lewis to get close to Nico, and by turn 3, when he moved alongside to overtake, Nico then pushed Hamilton off track, crashing his car to spin onto the grass and collided with Nico, making them both out of the race. They then both blamed each other afterwards, but the steward said that it was just a racing incident. But yeah, no one was taking blame for that. When I watched it, it was... Obviously, Nico knows that Lewis is trying to overtake him. So it's like what we literally see in every race. They don't want them to, and they end up doing something dangerous like Kevin Magnussen, for example, and then they crash.
Yeah.
And that's literally what happened. And then in Austria, Nico was looking like he was going to win, but was struggling with brake issues and again helped Lewis catch up near the end of the race. And the same thing happened. Lewis tried to overtake, moving alongside him as they approached the corner. Hamilton went to turn and Nico went straight, causing them to collide and damaged Nico's front wing. Hamilton then won the race and Nico dropped to fourth. Both Toto Wolff and Niki Lauda were so angry that Niki blamed Nico, and Toto threatened them both with implementing team orders in future if they didn't get both of their acts together.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're two years deep at this point of them being teammates, and I think it's really starting to piss Toto Wolff off, and they had a warning. In this final race, Lewis went against team orders, doing what any world champion would do in order to win by backing up Nico so that Verstappen and Vettel could attempt to pass him. But despite this, Nico finished P2 and won world champion, 5 points above Hamilton. So he finally won.
Explain that again, so I'm confused. So Hamilton was trying to help Nico in that situation?
He was trying to get them to overtake Nico so he couldn't finish in like P1 or P2, because then he'd get more points and he would win the championship, but it didn't work. He finished P2 and was 5 points above Hamilton and became world champion that year in 2016. So he'd never been world champion before, but Lewis obviously has. He's been it 3 times at this point. So this was Nico's first ever win. You should have seen the pictures. He looked ecstatic. It's a good feeling, it must have been. But this is what's weird. So he wins the world champion. It's what he's been waiting for 25 years. 5 days later, he announces he's retired from F1.
Yeah, I've always wondered this. What?
5 days after becoming the world champion, he retired to F1. So Hamilton responded to the news by saying this is the first time he's won in 18 years, hence why it was not a surprise when he decided to stop.
Stop on a high, leave while you're ahead.
It's kind of like all he wanted to do in his career is beat Lewis as his teammate. And he done it, and he's just like, I won't be able to do it again, and he'll probably, so I'll just leave. But that's how it looks. Maybe that's obviously not. Maybe he's just like, it was my dream just to be world champion once. And he had a baby at this point. He had a wife. Maybe he was like, I've done what I have dreamt of doing. I'm out. But I just think that's crazy. 5 days later.
I've always wondered, because obviously he's not racing at the moment, but knowing that he's Hamilton's age, knowing that they did it together, I've always wondered, where did Nico Rosberg go and what?
Well, he went into a commentator.
Yeah, we see him on the TV.
Yeah, we do. So yeah, Lewis made that statement.
So Lewis was basically like, he's only doing it because he knows he'll never beat me again.
Yeah. And as teammates, they both won 54 of 78 races over 4 seasons. Hamilton had 32 victories in comparison to Nico's 22. Hamilton had 55 podiums to Nico's 50, and Hamilton qualified ahead of Nico 42 times, which he qualified ahead of Hamilton 36 times. Over 4 years, Hamilton beat Rosberg 3-1, with Hamilton picking up 2 championships and Nico picking up 1.
Okay.
So that's just their stats for you.
Bit of numbers.
So, yeah, they seem to have great friendships as they both tried to get into Formula 1, but as soon as the world title was on the line, things turned sour, where they didn't even speak to each other off the grid after these incidents. So that was just my little input there that I wrote down, because I just find that crazy. Obviously I get it, I totally do, but to not even be able to bring yourself to talk to each other after those incidents occurred, I mean, it must have been so awkward for everyone who worked on Mercedes.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Imagine being in their garage, like it would have just been so tense, and that is not an atmosphere that you want to be around.
No.
Is it like?
It probably put so much strain on Toto that he was probably glad that Nico retired in the end.
And that was the thing that, like, Hamilton said recently, like, when's the angriest you've seen Toto? He was like, one of the times that me and Nico crashed into each other.
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
like, done.
Yeah.
And I was like...
But there has been a few comments from Nico recently and just after he retired.
Are they friends now?
No.
Oh,
so,
okay.
yeah, it's still very awkward and tense between them. But Nico has made a comment about their friendship and said that the breakdown happened as soon as they started fighting for World Championship, but that's always the case when you're fighting for success in every race and for titles. It doesn't work anymore. It was a build-up of one race to the next. You have to test your limits and go into grey areas to win. And Hamilton also threatened to leave Mercedes because of how sour their relationship was. So yeah, it wasn't good. And from 2021, they both have teams in Extreme E. And in the first season, Hamilton's team tied on points and Nico's came out on top with more wins. And Nico said that it's a funny thing, we're fighting each other again in Extreme E. So
What's Extreme E?
no idea.
Whoa, we should get into Extreme E. Extreme E is a radical off-road racing series in the most remote corners of the planet, impacted by climate change. 8 teams consisting of 1 male and 1 female driver, racing to highlight global issues and inspire the next generation. Holy fucking shit.
What in the world is that?
What in the world?
So yeah, they both have teams within Extreme E. And Nico has recently said from 2021, it's really funny that they actually are fighting against each other again. But yeah, and funny. also, last thing, guys, about this whole drama situation. In most recent times, so 2023, in the Spanish Grand Prix, we saw Nico interviewing Lewis after the race when he finished P2.
No, I gotta see this.
Nico said at the end, so at the start it was a bit awkward.
Hey Lewis.
Hey Lewis, like Nico is being nice and friendly, and you can just tell off of Lewis's face.
But he's like,
he's just like, you know how he kind of just is like that anyway. He's not like a very person, but I don't know. He just seemed a bit awkward.
He can be when he wants to be. Like after today's race, after Miami's race, he was buzzing in those interviews. He was happy.
So it was about Lewis not backing down in the race, because in 2023 Mercedes car was obviously not as good anymore, and you could tell Lewis was obviously, like he is now, frustrated with the car. And so Nico said at the end, you still aren't backing down, are you? Kind of insinuating past things. You still aren't backing down. And then Lewis smiled. He didn't respond. And Nico said, and could kind of tell that he wanted to leave the interview. So Nico said, it's great to see you. And Lewis said, thank you, and walked away. So he didn't even say it was nice to see you too.
But just said thank funny. You. I like that little bit of, because the commentator, they know that. They're very good at picking up on what the audience want to know, the drama, blah, blah, blah. And I like that Nico, like, obviously gave us a bit of what we wanted. Yeah. And Hamilton smiling, obviously, like, knew that. Yeah. Isn't fully offended by it, but knows what he's trying to do.
I'm sure they're fine now, but definitely at the time it was...
Friends.
Yeah.
It's too much.
100%. I feel like you definitely probably... Because it's their whole life stream to be world champion. Like, you would just not like that person. Yeah. Like, when it's that competitive against each other.
It's good to see you.
Thank you. Not even you too, Lewis. Like, come on, just thank you.
Come on, Lewis.
Maybe he didn't even mean to be like that, but it was quite funny to watch. But yeah, so that is a little bit of history for you. So now when you see Nico and Hamilton, if they ever have an interview in the future, now you know, watch out for any secret little remarks that they might say to each other, because you never know. Right, Miami. Heat is on all night to the break of dawn.
Welcome to Miami.
Welcome to Miami. Well.
Best race ever.
No,
it was
guys,
actually
this was
so
actually
good.
such a good race. If you didn't watch it, you missed out. And plus, it was on at a really reasonable time.
For us.
So there's no excuse.
9 p.m. Honestly, it was a fantastic race. I'm going to break it up, and we're not going to go through the whole thing. I've picked out basically like key moments to talk through, but hopefully that'll cover a lot of the stuff. But this race was insane. Like, actual, like, aside from the obvious best part of it all, Lando winning his first ever race in Formula 1, it was actually a very competitive, wheel to wheel, constant, dramas. So it was just a really good race in general.
And Trump. Why the fuck?
Why
Trump? Why?
Honestly,
McLaren, seriously, I love you, Zach. I love McLaren. Like, honestly, Zach, my boy. But
why did he do that?
Why did he invite Trump?
I'm wondering if this is the first race in America for the year. I wonder, because they're really trying to build an American audience, if it's like get all of like
get loads of Trump supporters on F1. I don't want them near me.
Yeah,
thank you.
And also, McLaren, why would you want them to support you anyway?
Like, honestly, that gives more Red Bull vibes. Like, inviting Trump is more Red Bull vibes, not the vibe I had for McLaren in my head. So I'm actually quite upset. But anyway.
And then, Ferrari invited Jake Paul.
Are you taking the piss?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What? No, James Charles.
Yeah, James!
He got invited.
Who was he with Red Bull?
Was it?
Yeah.
No, see, I actually love that from Red Bull, but that gives more McLaren to me, like inviting James Charles, not Red Bull.
Yeah.
But because James Charles was like, he's been posting racing content a bit, and so they invited him to the Grand Prix, and he was like, I've been trying to watch Drive to Survive to really get my knowledge, because I don't want to be that influencer that goes and just doesn't know and just gets invited because they have loads of followers, not because they're actually into Formula 1. And he was like, but trust me guys, I am into Formula 1. And there was a picture of him with, I think it was Max Verstappen.
Max.
Oh my god, it looks so funny.
So weird.
I don't know why it looks so funny, but James Charles, he is just a very awkward person, I feel like. And when when you see him do his dances, he's very, do you know what I mean? And that was just the picture was the same vibe. It was just like he's so stiff. I don't know. I sound like a bitch, but yeah, no, cute. But who else was there? Camila Cabello.
Yeah, Camila Cabello, and she
got interviewed on the grid.
Charles Leclerc.
Oh, did she?
Charles Leclerc.
I haven't seen that.
And but she met Charles. It was so funny.
Got interviewed on the grid, and she was just like so awkward. She did not know what to say. But it was funny. She played it off like it was fine, but you just know in her head she's just like, okay.
Yeah. Travis Kelce was also there, but minus Taylor Swift.
I was gonna say I would have known if Taylor was there. Bloody hell.
No, we would have made a big deal about that. But I think Travis actually sponsors a team. I think it's Alpine.
Oh, fair. Not good. That's like, what's his name? Boxer, British, so good looking. He sponsors Alpine.
Oh, peak.
Yeah, it's pretty peak. He was on Drive to Survive. Was it Drive to Survive? Oh, anyway, let's move on because I can't remember names for the life of me.
Anyway, lots of celebrities. Miami is the place to spot the celebrities, honestly. But I'm going to start off because there's just no avoiding it. What's the point? Let's talk about Lando.
Yes, love him. He's so cute. And can I just say, go on our TikTok, right, and see the video. This was my idea, okay? I think Lando saw our TikTok and decided to use that sound. Because I used this sound where we did the trend where it's like, are you lonely? I can fix that. And it's like when someone sees a 24-hour Greggs on a night out and they're like standing there mesmerised looking at the Greggs, and then it like pans to the Greggs and it's like, whoa, 24 hours. And we did that when we were looking shocked when Lando was winning on the podium, and then I used that sound, posted it. Like, I literally just thought of it, didn't I? In that moment. Filmed it, posted it. Next day, wake up, Lando's used the same sound.
I know. I couldn't believe it. He definitely saw us.
He definitely saw our TikTok.
Him.
Definitely.
But
anyway.
yeah. And also, go on our TikTok to see our genuine live reactions to Lando winning, because that was an insane moment.
Quite embarrassed about how I was. I was extremely tired and
So excited.
I was so excited.
It was emotional.
Couldn't hold back my emotions. But
it was incredible. But basically, how did it happen? It did kind of seem very sudden. There was a lot of things that kind of contributed to it, and we'll talk a bit later about Oscar and what happened. But McLaren were just incredible. They basically bought all new updates to their car this weekend. So this weekend was another sprint
and that
weekend.
has just shown.
Yeah.
They're doing
those
do well.
updates. And it's a big risk to bring like a whole bunch of new updates to a sprint weekend where you've not got a lot of practice opportunities. You're into straight like 2 big races. So that was incredible. But the updates obviously proved very successful, and they had incredible pace. Like Max was literally saying, the McLaren's pace was insane, and they obviously couldn't keep up. They were able to make their tyres last a long time. I don't know what Lando was literally saying. He was like, yeah, I managed to make those medium tyres work for him. All the other cars were going into pit early, which for a lot of them proved to be absolutely fatal once the safety car came out. But for Lando and McLaren, they managed to make their tyres last for ages, which helped them in their favour. And this is the first ever race that he has won. So he's been on the podium in F1, I think 15 times, but this is the first time he's ever won, been first place. This is an incredible, incredible moment. I mean, I think we mentioned in one of our previous podcasts when a guy was like, walked past him and was like, Lando, when are you going to win your first race? And he just like swore at him. But that guy can suck it now because he's won his first race. So the last time he won a race was in Formula 2, and that was 6 years ago.
Wow.
So he's probably feeling
That's a long time coming.
I know, it doesn't
but he's young. No, actually, take that back. It's not. He's my age.
That is so crazy that he's been doing this for so long. He is so young. And everyone was saying, like, it was a matter of when, not if. Like, it's always going to happen.
Yeah.
And, like, we stayed and watched, all the other drivers congratulate him afterwards.
That was so cute. Max's reaction, I loved. I just love how he's so, he's not, like, a dickhead about it. And I don't know why I expect him to be. I think it's just because he wins so much. I just think surely he's somewhat cocky about it. And so I always thought if he doesn't, like, what would he be like? But seeing his reaction, I was like, no, this guy is a genuinely nice bloke. Like, he was so cool about it, and I just really liked that. And it was so deserving for Lando. I really do think it was just, like, the best thing that could have come out of that race. I was not expecting it. I literally said Oscar was gonna win.
I know. Well, it did look like it.
It did look like it. Like, he was up there. He was P2 for a while.
He was doing really well. And honestly, what happened to Oscar was arguably not necessarily his fault, and it's so unfortunate. And even after, he went all the way down to P19 after an unfortunate collision with Carlos Sainz, he still had fastest lap. Like, we were looking. And we were like, look at him go down there. He's still doing fast lap. And it just shows the pace of the McLaren was so elite. Fred Vasseur from Ferrari, absolute G. I love him so much. He celebrated with McLaren afterwards. They gave him a little hat.
Yeah. I saw that. Cute. I know. I love it how they're all supportive of each other.
Yeah. It's nice to see, like, We're not getting this like Nico, Rosberg, Hamilton tea, but they're all.
But then
like
you do with Toto Wolff and Christian Horner.
Yeah, that's where we get it.
But that's like acceptable.
But yeah, basically how he won it is that he completely benefited from that safety car.
Yeah, because the commentators were literally like, "This, I can't believe this has happened. This has just helped him so much."
Yeah.
And when they said that, I was like, "Yeah, but surely, like,
he's not going to keep it."
Yeah.
Because it has happened before, and we were
like we've seen it before, and it's just like you like it for a second, but then Max goes vroom.
Yeah.
And it just didn't happen.
No, it didn't happen. And yeah, that pace, and then obviously Max had his own issues, just incredible. And now Zach has to get a new tattoo, because Zach gets a tattoo every time there's a race for McLaren, so he'll get a little Miami track. I think the last one he got was when Daniel Ricciardo won. That was like how many years ago? 3, 4 4 years ago.
Something like that.
The Daniel Ricciardo won for McLaren, and that's the last time. So I'm excited to see Zach's tattoo. But yeah, really excited. And then Lando said that Gil de Farron, who used to be McLaren's old director, who died last year, said to him last year that it's coming, like your time is coming. I feel it soon. It's like this year, next year, you will win a race.
That's sweet.
And Gil has passed away, and this race in Miami was dedicated to him. So McLaren dedicated this whole race to him, and then Lando ended up winning. So it's an incredible moment for Lando, McLaren, the whole team.
Yeah. Wow.
Crazy.
That's crazy. Oh, that just makes it even better. I didn't even know that.
I know.
But that just makes it 10 times better.
In the photo, you know, when they take their team photo, it said dedicated to Gil de Farron, and I was like, who is that? And
that's really sweet.
So yeah, I love that. But we got to now find out what happened to Max and what happened to Red Bull. So the Red Bull had like 2 key dramas in this race. And the first one was actually with Sergio Perez.
Was it?
Yeah. So it was literally first corner, first lap, coming straight out of as the lights went down. You know, that corner is obviously always so intense because everyone's always bunched up. Everyone's going full pelt. Sergio is forced to kind of take the inside line because Charles has a slower takeoff. Sergio's really confident off the bat, goes super fast, too confident, locks up, almost crashes straight into Max. Like, literally.
How the hell did I miss
Max,
that?
Like this. And Sergio was like, so imagine this is Max, the front of my hand, and then my arm is the rest of the cars. Sergio goes like this, and then goes and just like narrowly misses Max.
Yeah, but could you imagine if he hit him though? That would have been so great.
Only if everyone was fine.
If everyone was okay.
Well, we don't even need to say that because Max didn't
No,
win.
I know, but I'm just saying.
But that was dramatic. But it like forced a load of other cars off. Like Carlos had to really veer away. Charles was thrown off by the whole thing. Even Lando, like. But Oscar really benefited. He like overtook a bunch. But that was very dramatic in the first corner. Love a bit of drama as soon as the race sets off. But then the next drama is what caused the virtual safety car. So the first safety car in the race. Max is, as I said, really struggling with the pace, and he was saying the car was off balance. So when a driver refers to like the car being off balance, that means like the weight is just not quite right. The distribution is not measured right, and that can cause either oversteering or understeering. Understeering is when the front of the car throws out, and then oversteering is when the rear of the car can flow out. So basically Max was constantly just oversteering and understeering. The car was completely off balance, and he did not have the pace because of that. He then crashes into a bollard, and it's so funny because in his post-race interview, a journalist was like, why did you do that? And he was like, oh, I didn't like it. I didn't like it was there, so I thought I'd just get rid of it and save everyone else the hassle
what a
of
stupid question. Why did you do that? I did it on purpose.
I did it entirely on purpose.
It's like after the race, when obviously he's got P2, and they were like, how does it feel to not win a race or something so like weird? And he was just like, no, it's great, it's fine, like Lando deserved it. And I was just like, why would you ask him that? Like,
it's these probing questions they want to probe, and they want to get like a reaction out of him. But I just thought that was such a funny question. But yeah, he crashed into this bollard, damaging his front wing, and then he had to box, and a virtual safety car was called, but the virtual safety car didn't even last like a full lap. I think it was really, really quick. So Max didn't even get to benefit off the advantage of pitting during a safety car because it went super quick, and then obviously he pitted. So then later when the safety car happened, he couldn't benefit off that either, so he really lost that advantage, and that really threw him behind. He was on older wheels, and that meant Lando could scoop up the win later on. Now I'll explain the safety car. I keep mentioning it because this safety car was really what made or broke people's race, and how it happened is with our dear friend Kevin Magnussen.
Of course.
Of course.
Who would have thought otherwise, honestly?
Our little
God.
What's it called? Aggressive driver.
Yeah, feisty guy.
I mean, it's not been a good weekend for him at all.
Has been doing great at the start though.
Yeah, he, to be fair, was being a team player, obviously, in qualifying. He did a lot to help Nico get into point scoring position. But it's not been a good weekend for Kevin at all. So basically what happened is they were like neck and neck, Kevin and Logan, around a corner. Kevin took the inside line. Logan didn't see him. And Kevin literally hit Logan's back right wheel with his front wheel. Caused Logan to spin off, and Kevin also went off. And he got a 10-second penalty for that because they say you had plenty of room. Like, you did not need to be that close to Logan.
And it was just like, I get why he went back on the track, but when I saw him reversing and driving back onto the track and then Logan's obviously now out, fair enough, Kevin, but I just was like, oh, that's
Didn't sit right.
Yeah, I just was like, that's such a dickhead move. Like, you've literally just made the poor guy crash as if he doesn't have it bad enough. Like, let's be real. But and then you're like, I guess it's because you're fine, and you know it's not about Logan. He probably doesn't care. He just wants to keep going.
Yeah.
But I was like, poor Logan. Like, he gets the short straw every time, and it actually breaks my heart. Like, poor soul.
I know, and him being like, this is kind of a home race for him.
And there wasn't even talks about that.
I know. I did think
like,
that.
No one really talks about him. Like, they don't.
No. But Kevin's now got like a bunch of points on his license because he also got a penalty, I think, during
he actually
qualifying.
needs to calm down a bit.
He really needs to calm down.
I get he doesn't give a fuck, but like,
I think he does give a fuck though, because like I was watching his interview and like I burst out laughing because when they were like, oh, how are you feeling? And he was like, not good. It's not a good weekend. And I was literally like, so I think he does care.
But when he's on the track, he just seems so reckless to me. So that's why, from like my point of view, and I'm not just the only one, that I've seen it online, like loads of people just like, he doesn't give a fuck, like he doesn't care. But he must do, obviously, but just the way that he is on the track, it's crazy.
And I was listening to a post-race interview and they were saying like, these points stay on your like license, I think, for 12 months, like a year.
Right.
And normally, if you garner the amount of points that Kevin has in one weekend, that normally happens over the 12 months. So then you'll see them slowly go off. He's done that in one weekend, and they're going to be on there for ages.
That's actually hilarious. Yeah, that Hasser's got to have a word with him then.
Yeah.
Surely.
So yeah, that was very dramatic. But obviously that safety car then enabled Lando to utilise the safety car pit, come out first and was ahead in the race, and then because he had such great pace, keep that lead. Both Ferraris had literally pitted 2 laps before that safety car was called. They both pitted on lap 27 and the safety car happened on lap 29. So both of them were fuming because neither of them could benefit from that. So they didn't, have the pace or the newer tyres to go ahead. It also didn't help Oscar, bless him. So,
yeah, he was kind of just like stuck back there now.
Yeah. Really changed up a race. You can see how a safety car can absolutely just like throw everyone off in their strategies.
Yeah.
And if you've got a strategy that enables you to save your pit for later on in the race, and that happens, you're flying, you're doing great.
Yeah.
But if your strategy is to pit early, you're fucked.
Yeah, but you can never predict what's going to happen, so...
What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Carlos and Piastri had a bit of drama. So Piastri was doing really great for a lot of the race. He was in like 4th, and then he was 1st at one point, P2. Yeah. He was up there. And like you said, we thought he could get a podium at least, but it all went to shit. And Carlos was fuming at Piastri basically because I think it was like lap 12. Carlos says that Oscar pushed him off, and then he was really angry about that. And he kind of like didn't let that go. So then later on in the race, Carlos lost control on the corner, locked up, and then his rear swung out, banging straight into Piastri, damaged his whole front wing. Piastri had to then pit, and it was a long pit. Came out in P19.
Yeah. It was pretty peak for him, I'm not going to lie.
You could blink, and Piastri was in P4, and then he was in P19.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Where did he finish again?
13th. Not fantastic.
No.
Bless the boy. We mentioned Alpine earlier, but actually, this race, they got their first points for the year. Their first set of points for the year.
I feel like Lando threw me off everything. I didn't see where anyone else came. I was like Lando, Max, and Charles, and then I just did not consider anything else. I was so like, oh my god.
Yeah, to be
so
fair,
no way they got a point.
Yeah, so Esteban Ocon got P10.
Yay! I love that for him.
Yeah.
That's so great.
And like I think in China he was P11, so he was saying like, this is, a slow build.
Yeah, no, it's good.
And
I'm
think back
glad.
to
I actually
Bahrain.
am glad.
They
They
really
are fooling.
Yeah, they really have improved. Like, think back to Bahrain, and then both Esteban and Pierre were P19 and P20.
Yeah.
And we were like, the Alpines are screwed. What is going on?
They've still got a long way to go, though.
Yeah, definitely. But I learned that they had like an overweight car, so the weight distribution was just entirely off, and they've slowly been working, so now the car is within the weight limit.
Okay.
Or something, so...
Well, hopefully we can see a bit more from them then.
Yeah. We did see, during the Miami, did you see like when Pierre and Ocon were literally driving right next to each other for like 3 corners?
Yeah, they were. They were fighting each other.
That was intense.
It's another Nico and Hamilton.
Yeah. I literally, oh my god, that's definitely that.
Literally.
And Drive to Survive is definitely, because that was a whole episode storyline in the last season. Was like,
what, of them two not getting on?
Yeah.
Really?
So maybe this new season
maybe we'll see it this year, yeah.
But I don't know. It might be a bit more exciting if it was higher up on the grid. Maybe we'd pay a bit more attention to it.
100%.
And then, Hamilton was loving his life. Bless him. Where did he come? He came P6. So, like...
Aww.
But he loved it.
Yeah, good. I'm glad.
He literally was like, that's not his best result ever, and no one's like jumping up and down, but he was literally just like so buzzed about how exciting the race was. He was like, this is what I love about F1. And he had like a really good like neck and neck moment with him and Nico Hulkenberg trying to like fight for the position.
they were, yeah.
And like afterwards he was obviously like super congratulatory for Lando, which was lovely to see. And then he was just like, and I just had a great time.
Yeah, that's good. So I'm glad, because honestly, I feel like they all need that.
Yeah, they need that positive vibes.
Yeah, and like a bit of an adrenaline.
Yeah, adrenaline. You know what? I just realised I've no idea what happened to Kick Sauber. No idea about them. Bless.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think much happened.
No.
A lot of the end of it was literally Lando Norris.
Yeah.
That's all that they were concentrating on, which is fair.
Yeah.
Because when Max is in first, they never touch upon him. But so it was nice to see an actual race.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, those are all the moments. The only other thing I wanted to talk about is what the fuck is Ferrari doing with their blue situation?
Oh, but it's all about the history, because that's what they used to wear, like the engineers, the blue.
I hate it. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, you're not the only one to say that. A lot of people hate it.
I really don't like it. The only thing that
it's
actually
just
gets
not
me past
Ferrari, is it?
No.
But
And they
it's
put
not
blue on the
forever.
car.
It's not forever.
I know. And also, like, is it for the history? Like, yes. But, like, they've just got HP as this new sponsor. And I'm like, I've been seeing these theories all over TikTok that's like, well, like a massive new sponsor. They've got a huge HP on the back of their frigging kit. Yeah. Huge HP everywhere. And I'm just like, that is a huge amount of money that they've, like, paid you to do that.
Yeah. But they all got to do it.
Yeah, but the Ferrari red, come on, there are some things...
No, I know. That is one thing you don't change. And
that's one thing you don't mess with.
But I just can't believe how much of a silly season it is so far. We're not even halfway.
Oh my god, since the last race, 2 dramas have happened.
Yeah.
We found Nico Hulkenberg, we found out is leaving Haas.
And joining, Audi, but they're Kick Sauber right now, but they will be Audi.
So that's exciting. He used to drive for Audi back in the day, so he's returning to his roots, so that's nice.
Yeah. So who will Nico be replacing in Kick Sauber?
Exactly,
so Joe Guan Yu and Valtteri Bottas, they know that one of them's
out. What a weird position to
I
be
know.
in.
I always found that weird when I watched Drive to Survive. Like, how do they
Deal with that.
deal with it? It must be so upsetting.
And then the other thing was that Helmut Marko is officially leaving Red Bull.
As we love to see. And let's hope he goes to Ferrari. Or actually McLaren now.
Maybe that would be dramatic.
Honestly, wherever. And it would be the T, so...
Yeah.
But, yeah, I couldn't believe when all this was happening. It was crazy. That was only last week.
I know. Wow, how time flies. Bring on some more silly seasons.
I'm loving it. I really am.
Have a great time on your holiday, Jess. You'll come
my
back
God,
and I'll
yeah.
be like, so podcast?
I'll be coming back with a tan, nice and refreshed, relaxed, sunny holiday.
I
Can't
wait to hear
wait.
all about it.
Have a good week as well.
Thank
at
you.
working.
Thank
Hope
you.
it goes quick.
Thanks, me too.
And we'll be back. Where's the next
The
Grand Prix? It's
next-
Italy, isn't it?
Imola in Romania. And
Okay.
I think last year this race didn't happen because there was lots of flooding in Romania. So this is the first race back in Romania for a couple of years. So
Okay, cool.
that's fun.
It'll be good.
Yeah.
So can't wait for that. But see you guys in the next episode. And
Thanks
have
for
a good
watching and
week.
listening.
Yeah.
Bye, Jess.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.